Mark had never thought of himself as boring. He thought he was responsible. He was the kind of man who paid his bills on time, planned for the future, and preferred quiet dinners at home over loud clubs with overpriced drinks. He saved money, invested carefully, and believed stability was something to be proud of. For the first 2 years, Vanessa agreed. She used to say Mark made her feel safe. After years of toxic relationships, unpredictable men, and emotional chaos, she said Mark was different. He listened. He showed up. He stayed. Mark helped her refinance her student loans. He picked her up from the airport at 2 in the morning without complaining. He sat beside her on the couch while she cried about work, about friends, about life. He never raised his voice. He never disappeared. But somewhere during their 3rd year together, something changed. It didn't happen all at once. It started with a word. Boring. At first, Vanessa didn't say it directly about him. She said it about things around him. His retirement plan was boring. Cooking dinner at home instead of going out was boring. Paying off his car early was boring. Mark didn't argue. He thought it was just a phase. People get restless sometimes, he told himself. But then comparisons began to slip into the conversation. Vanessa started mentioning her ex-boyfriend from college, Dylan. She talked about him casually, almost carelessly. Dylan had moved back into the city. Dylan had started a branding agency. Dylan had energy. Dylan had excitement. Mark didn't panic. He trusted what they had built. But trust has a way of blinding people to warning signs. Mark didn't realize that, to Vanessa, the life he worked so hard to build no longer felt like a future. It felt like a cage. And the man she once called her safe place was slowly becoming the man she was preparing to replace. Mark didn't notice the change at first. It didn't arrive like a storm. It arrived quietly, disguised as a word. Boring. Vanessa didn't throw the word at him. She slipped it into conversations the way people slip sugar into coffee. His habit of cooking dinner at home instead of going out? Boring. His plan to pay off his car early? Boring. His careful budgeting, his long-term savings, his calm weekends? All boring. For the first 2 years, those same traits had been exactly why she loved him. She used to say he made her feel safe. After years of chaos, safety felt like love. But somewhere around year 3, safe started to sound like stuck. Mark could feel it, even if he didn't fully understand it yet. She was more restless. Her phone was always in her hand. Her laughter came faster, but faded quicker. Then one night, casually, she mentioned a name. Dylan's back in the city, Vanessa said, scrolling through Instagram. Looks like he's doing really well now. Mark knew the name. Dylan was her ex, the one she used to describe as a mistake. Unstable. Emotional. Disappeared without warning. Mark didn't react. He trusted her. Trust had always been his default. But after that night, the comparisons started. Dylan's new loft. Dylan's lifestyle. Dylan's energy. Vanessa began looking at Mark's life like it was a waiting room. Clean. Predictable. Quiet. One evening, her phone buzzed on the couch. She grabbed it instantly, turned the screen away, typed fast, then placed it face down. Who was that? Mark asked, calmly. Work, she said. She didn't look at him. Mark didn't argue. He didn't accuse. But something cold settled in his chest. For the first time, he understood the truth he had been avoiding. He wasn't being chosen anymore. He was being kept, just in case. And Mark knew. Something was coming. The restaurant was everything Vanessa had once dreamed of. Soft jazz floated through the air. Candles flickered on each table. The lighting was warm, romantic, almost forgiving. It was the kind of place couples chose to celebrate love, or quietly end it. Mark arrived first. He wore the suit Vanessa used to love, the one she once said made him look confident and steady. He sat straight, calm, unaware that this night would change his life. Vanessa arrived 10 minutes late. She looked stunning. A black dress, perfect makeup, flawless from the outside. But her energy was restless. She checked her phone before even sitting down. She didn't ask how Mark was. She didn't notice the place. They ordered drinks. Vanessa chose the most expensive wine without looking at the price. The silence between them grew heavy. Finally, Mark spoke. "You seem distracted. Is everything okay?" Vanessa put her glass down slowly. She inhaled deeply, as if preparing a speech she had already rehearsed. "I need to be honest with you," she said. Mark nodded, waiting. "I've been talking to Dylan." The name landed like a stone in his chest. She kept going, gaining confidence with every word. Dylan had apologized. Dylan had changed. Dylan had energy, excitement, passion. She spoke of him like a prize she had rediscovered. Then she leaned forward. "He wants me back," she said calmly. "And I have to choose." Mark stayed silent. "So," she continued, crossing her arms, "give me one reason to stay with you instead." She expected panic. Begging. Fear. What she didn't expect was stillness. Mark looked at her, truly looked at her, and in that moment, something inside him closed forever. The relationship did not break loudly. It ended quietly, with clarity. He reached for the bill. Vanessa frowned. "What are you doing?" Mark paid exactly half. He stood up. "You asked me for a reason," he said evenly. "So I asked myself one question instead: can you give me a reason to stay with you?" She had no answer. And for the first time in years, Mark walked away without looking back. Vanessa believed she had one. In her mind, choosing Dylan was choosing excitement. Choosing chaos that felt like passion. Choosing a life that looked interesting from the outside. For a few days, she posted photos like trophies, late-night clubs, expensive drinks, loud laughter. She wanted the world, and especially Mark, to see that she was alive. But excitement burns fast. Dylan was charming only when it suited him. His attention came in waves, intense, then absent. One night he was affectionate, the next he was cold, distracted, irritated by her presence. Vanessa tried harder. She laughed louder. She ignored the small insults. She told herself this was what passion felt like. Until the night it ended. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't romantic. It was quick and cruel. Dylan told her his real girlfriend was coming back. That she had misunderstood everything. That she needed to leave. Her bag was placed outside the door like an inconvenience. And just like that, the excitement vanished. At 7 a.m., soaked in shame and exhaustion, Vanessa stood in front of Mark's apartment. The same man she had called boring. The same man she had asked to compete for her affection. She knocked, not gently, but desperately. When Mark opened the door, she expected relief. Instead, she saw calm. Mark did not invite her in. He did not raise his voice. He did not ask questions. He listened while she cried, while she blamed Dylan, while she begged for another chance. And then he said no. Not out of anger. Not out of revenge. But out of clarity. For the first time, Vanessa realized something terrifying. She had not lost a boyfriend. She had lost safety. She had lost respect. She had lost the man who would have protected her, from others and from herself. And there was no way back inside. 6 days after the dinner, the knock came. It was early morning. The kind of knock that didn't ask for permission, it demanded rescue. Mark was already awake, standing in his quiet kitchen, coffee steaming in his hand. The apartment felt lighter now. Cleaner. Peaceful. He looked through the peephole. Vanessa. She barely looked like the woman who once sat across from him in a candlelit restaurant, confident and demanding. Her hair was tangled. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. She wore clothes that didn't fit her, someone else's clothes. She looked small. Broken. When Mark opened the door, he didn't step aside. Mark, her voice cracked. Please. I just need somewhere to stay. Dylan kicked me out. He said I was nothing. He said I was just a placeholder. She cried hard, the kind of cry meant to awaken guilt, memory, obligation. But Mark didn't move. He listened. Calm. Silent. When she reached for him, he stepped back. You can't come in, he said evenly. She stared at him, shocked. After everything? 3 years? That's exactly why, Mark replied. Because I gave you 3 years, and you turned them into an interview. She pleaded. Apologized. Promised change. Promised love. But Mark had already crossed the line she could never reach again. You didn't come back because you loved me, he said. You came back because your choice failed. He handed her a small bill, enough for a cab. Nothing more. This is not punishment, he added. This is closure. When the door closed, it closed quietly. No slam. No drama. Just finality. Months later, Mark sat in a cafe, working on his laptop. His life was steady. His peace intact. Across the street, he saw Vanessa again, walking behind another man, carrying bags, being ignored. Their eyes met briefly. Mark didn't smile. He didn't frown. He simply looked away. For the first time, he understood. The story was never about why she left. It was about why he didn't beg her to stay.